Yes, people, welcome back to the Treehouse Podcast. And we've got ourselves a little special edition episode today. We've got RJ back, from who some people may remember from episode 1, who was the first guest we had on. During that episode, RJ announced that he's got his debut album, Homecoming Landing, that has since dropped and done incredibly well. So we've got him back in to sit down and do a bit of a breakdown and a talk about the album. So yeah, how are you, bro? How's things?
Yeah, good, man.
Mr.
Good.
iTunes charts, like
I
you
know,
saying?
I know. Can't complain, man. Yeah, it's all gone really well since the release last week.
It's been what has it been? 8 days now. Come out last Friday.
Come out last Friday, yeah. 8 days.
Numbers good and that.
Numbers are looking good, man. Yeah, for me, you know, I'm not someone who does a huge amount of numbers at the moment at my stage in my career. And what the album's done has surpassed what I thought it would do. Yeah. You know. And then obviously the iTunes chart stuff was just a little bonus, really. That was a little cherry on the top, which I didn't expect. You know, it's just it's nice, innit? It's just nice to see your name next to the people who, you know, like next to Gets, even flipping Biggie Smalls. Do you know what I mean? It's just seeing your name just next to people who you've idolised. It gives you a little bit of gas. Do you know what I mean? It's nice to see. Yeah,
because the Netflix brought out a Biggie documentary recently.
Yeah, they did.
So his greatest hits charted, and when I looked, when you first hit the chart, you came in at like 4 or 5 initially, didn't you?
Came in at 9 initially, yeah.
Oh, right.
I went up to 5 by the end of the day.
Right, so when I first seen it, you was at 5.
Yeah.
And above you was like, I think it might have been Gets just above you.
Gets, two biggie albums.
The 2 Biggie albums, and then Central C was top.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just dropped his new project, and then fast forward less than 24 hours, and you'd kick Biggie Smalls.
Yeah, literally by like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, Saturday morning. I was 2.
Yeah, that's big.
But I was 4, and then I was like to my missus, yo, I'm 4, that's sick. Yeah. And then literally someone tagged me in a post saying 2. And I was like, right, go on, because I've not got iTunes. I was like, so go on your phone and look. And she was like, yeah, you 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously was you like running around the gaff celebrating and all that?
Nah, like I'm not really that guy. I was just I literally, my reaction was, yo, that's sick. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like I was buzzing. Yeah,
man, big achievement that, bro. Especially all independent as well, man.
All independent, so, no money put behind it other than my money. Do you know what I mean?
Love that. So obviously we're gonna go through the track listing. Yeah. In order. Yeah. Go through the tracks and break them down. Yeah. Anyone who's not listened to the album yet, where the fuck have you been? Because obviously man was number 2 in the charts, but we'll put the link below for Spotify and Apple. I'm not putting links for other platforms. If you've got other platforms, do the searching yourself.
Yeah, or just go to my Instagram. The link in my bio will take you to what.
Oh, you got the link tree thing.
Got the link. Yeah, no, it's not link tree. It's that song link thing where you can find any platform and that.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Because I've got Apple and I've got Spotify on my computer. Yeah. So I can pull them 2 links rapid. That's what I was getting at.
Put them in the thing. They're the main 2 anyway.
Yeah. And then obviously all the Instagram bios and stuff. So the first my little bullet point notes on the album, before we get into the track, is first one, album is I'm just gonna read them raw in it, what I wrote down last night as summing up the album in it. So for me it was, album is amazing, production is A1, / beats are class, the bars / storytelling, and then it's fucking that was bang on, especially the storytelling, which is probably what we're going to touch on a lot, because there's a lot of storytelling in the tunes, and you're not just spraying bars is what I'm trying to say.
The whole thing's a story anyway.
So there's that, and then one thing that stands out for me, bro, is compared to your other music, especially you're very open in this. Your other tunes, obviously Air Max and stuff, they're just tunes. You've got a bit of a concept to them, where these are it's you being open, you just said, storytelling, story of your life, being very open. Yeah. And then the final bullet point is, I love it. I just think it's a class album, bro. I've been bashing it.
Thank you.
I think everyone, if you've not listened to it, you should go and listen to it. So they're just where I'm at with it. Yeah. So obviously the first track on the album is Rob, R.O.B.
R.O.B. Yeah.
R.O.B. Talk to us about that one, bro.
Yeah, so that track started as just I was just writing a sort of a freestyle I wanted to do. I think the album may have already been underway, and this track wasn't initially meant to be a part of it.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I was gonna start the album with Waiting, but Jay suggested, he was like, that might be a bit too heavy for your intro. You need sort of one that just sets the scene. Do you know what I mean?
As in JSD,
yeah. So he was like,
he produced
the whole thing, engineered, mixed mastered the whole thing, yeah. So he was like, yeah, you need something that sort of just sets the scene and tells a story. And I had these bars, and then I was like, yeah, these go nice, you know. Obviously I'm showing my lyrical ability in that track as well. Do you know what I mean? There's good rhyme patterns in there and that. And then I added a few towards the end to sort of give you, obviously if you listen to like the last 8 bars, it's like a quick breakthrough of what's about to come, them last 8 bars, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just added them towards the end, and yeah, that became the intro track. Obviously it's called R.O.B. My first name, my actual name's Rob.
Yeah.
But I say rapping on beats like the letters of my first name.
Yeah.
And there's a few other R.O.B. references in there, so you know, like love a little rhythm and bass, wanna just ride on beats. So that was sort of the theme for that track. And it was just about setting a scene for that album, really, having something sort of light and nice to listen to rather than straight in with the heavy stuff. Just something for people to sort of bob their head along to, you know, and enjoy, really, before we sort of get into the nitty gritty of what's going on.
Well, I've got on here for my notes for Rob, I've got Hard with about 5,000 A's. This is like one of my favourites on the album, like to start off with.
Some people have said that. Quite a few people have said that.
I don't know if it's my actual favourite. We'll discuss that towards the end. But I've got on there. It's a Percy. This one, like, I fuck with this one hard. And one thing that I like about this, bro, is like you've got a stallion by. He's got a stallion, and he's like a horse ad lib, bro. Man's got like a horse ad lib. It's nuts. It sounds hard.
Just being cheeky and that in it, and these little things. You know, when I listen to music, I want to hear stuff that will make me go, you know what I'm saying? So putting a little few things in there like that. I think, as I was saying, the bars was like to Jay, we need to get a couple of sound effects in here. You know, and he picked the right ones.
Yeah, sick. It just made, because again, what you just said, when I heard that, I heard the bar stallion and I heard the noise, it made me go, ha. Like what you just, it made me do that. So that's obviously a banger. That's track number 1. Moving on to track number 2 is What's Up.
So What's Up again was What's Up was written quite a lot like later. It was written towards the end. I'll be honest with you, I think that track just came out. I don't think I planned to write it for the album. I was literally just writing it to a beat. And then it ended up coming out the way it did. And what we tried to do with the album is I wanted it to go in chronological order. And then we also had to think about sonically what works best, what tracks work well after one another. Do you know what I mean? And as it stood at the time, we wanted like something a bit more upbeat and up tempo as that second tune, and the one we had in its place wasn't to start with. So then when basically we had like either Money Minded or Take It as track 2, and I didn't want Money Minded or Take It there, but sonically it did work, if you know what I mean. But in terms of telling a story, it didn't work. And when I made What's Up, What's Up's like your second intro, if you know what I mean, because again, it's just sort of a brief overview of what I'm gonna go deeper into throughout the album. So that's why that's track 2, really, just sort of obviously saying, you know, from young, man got stung, no healing, but man got funds, blinded by that, man got drunk, and it took time to understand what's up. Just saying like, yo, obviously went through a bit of pain, got some dough, thought that would make me better, didn't, ended up getting drunk a lot. You know what I mean? And then understanding what healing is, and that's why at the end you got me talking, saying, you know, true healing takes time. Before that can begin, you got to get down to causes and conditions, and then we get into the causes and conditions, you know. Of what you've got to look at to heal. So I suppose track 2 is sort of a reflective track of me. I'm spitting like I'm here now, but I'm thinking about everything that's happened. And then I'm saying you got to get into causes and conditions. And then when I'm getting into those causes and conditions, it's like, yo, I'm back there. You know what I mean?
Well, you've literally just, all the notes I've made on this tune, you've just touched on them. So like, obviously the track I've put here, it's like, I got the vibe that you're like, of realisation, and you're realising what's up, and obviously the track's called What's Up. Like you said, you things have happened, and then obviously you've realised and made on the path to then make the change. That's what the vibe I got from that, like you say,
definitely,
reflecting and stuff. So, and then I put on the end as well. I love the little motivational message at the end, which is what you've just touched on.
Yeah.
And it's things got to get worse before they get better. True healing takes time.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know. It's just stuck with me. I just think I don't know.
Yeah, because it's showing you basically just saying, things like, it's basically telling you the story you're about to be told. It has to get worse before it gets better. Do you know what I'm saying? And just the way, obviously, ROB ends with lend me your ears for a bit while I go back and tell you all my story, and then within literally 2 seconds you've got boom from young man. You know what I mean? It just sonically works really well as the start of a project.
Yeah, because when I've listened to it, I remember what we spoke about on the first podcast episode, and you said that. I said, do you listen to it on shuffle or is it in an order? And you said, listen to it in order.
Yeah, definitely.
And I've not listened to it on shuffle. I've listened to it in order every time.
Yeah.
And I think it just works. Like you say, the transitions into other songs and stuff. It's quality. Like I said before, the production's fucking amazing, man. So shout out JSD.
Man, big up Jay. He obviously did a great job with that. And not only did he produce it, but he was there with me all the way through it, creating it anyway. Do you know what I mean? I obviously wrote everything, but he was there giving his input on how things should sound, and sometimes switching verses around, and stuff, and
moving bars.
And obviously we sat down. We spent a good couple of studio sessions, literally just listening through, just working out how many seconds we wanted in between each track and stuff. Like the guys put a lot of time into that project with me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Love that, man. And like I said earlier, you can tell, man. It pulls through in the music. You can hear it. You can feel it when you listen to the album.
I'm glad.
A lot of time's gone into that.
Yeah, man. I'm glad that's noticeable because it did.
So that was what sort. And then the next one is Waiting, which you said that you touched on before was going to be track number 1.
Yeah. So Waiting was the first track I wrote. So when this project come about, I wanted to make a 4-track EP about my life. So it'd be like Waiting, which was childhood.
Yeah.
It was Drinking, which is the next one. I'd wrote Drinking, which was like teenage years, Then I was gonna write like early 20s, and now that was it, 4 tracks. Like
split your life into 4.
So that's how it was gonna be. No name homegrown or anything like that. But I was actually gonna call it the Waiting EP or something like Waiting EP, something like that. Do you know what I mean? So Waiting was the first track I wrote. This is what started the whole thing. And that track, obviously, I just wrote it. Again, when I write tracks, I don't sit. For this album, I did sometimes sit down and think, am I going to write about this topic sort of thing? But when I wrote Waiting, I didn't. I was listening to a beat, but I was listening to a tune, and obviously, as I say, a lot of the time I write over other people spitting. Do you know what I mean? I can just sort of zone them out and get the beat. And I was writing Waiting, and the bars just come out the way they did. About my dad, about how I felt as a kid waiting for my dad to come and get me and him not coming. Do you know what I mean? I have to say, the track is not a reflection of mine and my dad's relationship today.
Well, I was going to say further on in the EP, you mentioned
my dad again, So, but it is a reflection of how I felt as a kid, and obviously I love that tune. I think that's one of the best tunes on the album. I love the way I wrote it. Like, if you notice, the verses follow the same flow pattern. It's a very thought out track. The hook came a bit later. The hook didn't. I first just wrote the verses, and then the hook actually came in the studio because obviously it's got a bit of a melody to it. You can't really write a melodic hook until you've got your actual beat that you're going to be recording over. Do you know what I mean? That came together like that, and obviously we put the sound effects of the thunder and the rain and that in there, because I say obviously talking about just the way I describe, the drops running down the pane, and me and my sister putting bets on him. You get me? That just for me highlights complete boredom. Like, you're watching rain trickle down a window and betting which drop's gonna get to the bottom before the other. Like, you've not got anything better to do, but the answer's no, because we're waiting for my dad to come and get us. Do you know what I mean? I need to play him. The track.
I was gonna say, has he heard it?
Not played it him yet. I am going to. My dad doesn't live around here, so I've just not been able to see him for quite some time. With COVID and whatnot. But I am going to. Obviously, my dad's a writer anyway. My dad's a poet. Became a poet later in. Well, he was always a writer, but later into his life, he went back to writing poetry and whatnot. So he will understand where that comes from. Do you know what I mean? He will understand how as an artist, being creative, you can go into that time and pull the emotions out and make it sound so real, like you're there. Now, you know. But also, you know, that being said, it's a very personal track. As you say, it is very open and honest. My sister texted me saying, you know, I found some of your honesty, like she enjoyed the album, but she was like, some of your honesty was brutal. Do you know what I mean? But that's the way it come out. You know, that I'm not shying away from any of that. You know, that's what this project was about. It was about getting all that out in the only way I know how, really, which is through music. And
do you feel better for it, like getting it out?
Yeah, definitely.
And knowing it's out there, and like your sister and your dad, and like obviously we'll touch on the other track, Mum, as well. Like like your family can obviously, you've all got smartphones, they'll all be able to get Apple Music or whatever. Like,
yeah, I mean, I feel better for it. I think with anything, when you put it out, you start analysing it again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just had to keep bringing myself, like, bro, it's been a mad week, let me tell you. Like, going from like an extreme high Friday, Saturday, to just feeling flat Sunday, to then Monday feeling like, yo, it's all over. It's not all over, do you know what I mean? It's just the beginning. But it's just been these up and downs all week. And most of this week, I felt really down and flat. But that's just because I was up here. Do you know what I mean? That's what happens. That's just the way of the world, innit, man? Everything balances out. So I went through a bit of a period this week of then analysing it again. But I had to just keep bringing myself back to how I felt before it come out, which was like, yeah, this is right, and
you're proud,
and we're ready for it to go.
Yeah. I think I've spoke to other artists before, and they're like, I'll say, oh, like I love this tune, and the artist, well, I fucking hate that tune. Like some artists, like they'll obviously go through a creative process, put something out there, and then like a couple of weeks later they're not feeling it or whatever. So you got to be wary of that. But like you say, if you can bring yourself back to that moment where you thought, yeah, we're good, you and Jay have gone, yeah, we're good to go, and trusting yourselves in that moment, you'll be fine with it. Innit?
But yeah, Waiting obviously is a big pivotal track in the album, because it's going right back to childhood, so it's telling you sort of how a lot of things started, really. And then obviously it ends with, it's obviously talking about my dad not coming because he's drinking, and then it ends with, but giving me your time, but your mind just likes booze. I hope I don't find it like you. You know what I mean? And because really we was gonna put another hook in there, but we were like, nah, it needs to end on that bar. I hope I don't find it like you. Do you know what I mean?
And then which obviously will bring us on to the next track. But yeah, with Waiting, I just put, you're very open about your childhood, like about your dad not turning up and stuff. It's a bit of a deeper one, like it's more of a deeper tune for you, like what we've heard. Obviously not compared to the album, like there's a few deeper ones on there, but like prior to that, we've not really seen this side of you, and it's a good thing, man. Like it's hitting, like you say, obviously number 2 in the iTunes.
I think in some of my music I've often touched on things, do you know what I mean? But in this album, and especially on that track, I've gone right back to being there. That's the difference. I'm saying it like I'm there. I'm saying it like I'm whatever, 6, 7, 8-year-old waiting for my dad. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's why you probably think that, we've not heard you like this before, because you've never heard me say it like I'm actually there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like how you just alluded to a minute ago, like going back to that time and pulling the emotion out and putting that in your music. Like, it's really pulled through for you. So yeah, obviously, from Waiting, like you just said, it finishes on that bar, and then the next track is called Drinking.
So obviously, then as I say, this was the second track written anyway, you know. And this track, obviously, it's a short track. It's a bit more like an interlude in a way, but it's not. It deserves to be called a track in its own right. And just about, you know, being a bit older now. So as I say, my dad's moved away now, lives elsewhere, lives up in the hills, you know. So I'm there. I'm at my dad's house. I remember being there. Don't know whether I'd stayed over. I might not have even stayed over. I might have just gone up there for the day, and I'm just looking at this scenery of just literally, you step outside of his front door, and it's just beautiful hills. Do you know what I mean? And I'm looking at it, and then I'm going back to Manchester, and just going about some madness. You know, like that contrast. You know, and that's what I was trying to get through in there. You know, I'm at my dad's gaff, but then. You know, it's beautiful. Then I'm back to usual. I'm not going to go into them bits, but, you know, just saying like I'm going back into a whole world of madness, you know, because that's what my life did become for some time, you know, just literally drinking a lot of alcohol and out partying and in lots of mad places, you know, and I just try and explain them in that track, you know, sort of paint the picture of the places that I was into, you know. So I talk about obviously like trying to get my head down at whatever o'clock in the morning and drinking wine just to do it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all real stuff, man. That's stuff that I went through. The stuff a lot of people go through, you know. And yeah, that was just capturing that moment as well. You know, coming off the back of that, like me knowing my dad wasn't coming to get me for that reason. I'm now doing that same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have any kids, but I'm doing that same thing. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, yeah, the same thing that your dad did, which stopped him from obviously picking you up in it.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So obviously with drinking, bro, what I found with drinking and then the next one, Take It.
Yeah.
I found them quite similar, but like opposites at the same time.
Yeah.
So like they're both on about a different time in your life. Obviously not like currently, you're on about like a different period in your time when in your life, when you was drinking and doing other things, like going out and like you say, coming home and drinking wine to go sleep and stuff like that. Like with drinking, that seems to me like the darker side of it, and Take It seemed a bit more of a. I couldn't help but compare the two, basically. Which is why I'm bringing up Take It, which is the next track. And like the notes I've got on drinking is like it's a dark time in your life, drinking and like going out and stuff like that, and then like stuck in a routine, because you say something about like Monday mornings. Yeah,
feeling like needing to my brain and that.
Yeah,
I've been here and every weekend's been the same.
Yeah, that's it. Weekends every weekend's the same, and then there's also a bar in there where you question your fitness. Yeah. Which obviously to you now is
what I'm saying there is I'm feeling about as fit as doubtful Christians. So I'm saying like spiritually.
Oh right, okay.
Like a doubtful, like if you're a Christian but you're doubtful, you're not spiritually fit, are you?
Right,
do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
But I sort of heard like a question of things. And then obviously there's a voicemail at the end saying you want to go out and blow some steam, and that seemed like alluding to like you deal with like anxiety or something like that, because you said you say, I just want to go out and like blow off some steam, like been going through some shit. Yeah. So you're like, but the way it's said, it doesn't sound like, oh yes, bro, do you want to? It seems like I need to go out, like you're dealing with. So I said anxiety, but I don't know exactly if it was that. But like what I'm saying is like the way that voicemail comes across at the end, it's like alluding to like you've got other shit going on, and that's why you're going out. Yeah, that's the vibe I got.
I think when you're trapped in that cycle of doing the same thing every weekend and that not being a good thing, you know, and you've put in alcohol in the mix, and you know you're not sleeping for 2-3 days at a time and all that, you know, your mind gets battered, you know, minded, you know, physically. Like when I stopped drinking, I was 25 years old, so physically I was still, I wasn't having many physical problems and that. Do you know what I mean? But my head was just punched in. Do you know what I mean? From a few years of just hammering it, and I think drinking's like drinking sort of reflecting on that the morbidness of it all, and then Take It's like, oh, but you know what? Let's just go out and have it anyway, because what else we gonna do? And let's just go out, and then Take It is about sort of like literally going out and blowing off the steam, just forgetting about all that stuff. And you can call it anxiety, you can call it depression. I'm really careful of using them words, only because I know people really suffer with that stuff. I don't think I've suffered with it in that way. I suffered with addiction. Do you know what I mean? But that brings up all of that anxiety and depression and all that. You know, I will never say I was depressed, because I know people who really have a bad time with depression, and I don't think I've had what they have. Do you know what I mean? But certainly anxiety and paranoia, and that just comes with living that lifestyle, you know. So that's definitely a part of it. And I had that going on all the time, you know. I'd have to get tanked up before I went out in the end, because I was that paranoid of sort of going out, you know. But as soon as you do, you know what I mean, you don't care again. You just off and out again. And Take It was sort of showing that, and I suppose showing the good side of it as well, because I did have fun doing some of that as well. You know, it was a mad roller coaster, and there was a lot of lows, but there was a lot of highs as well. You know, and it was good in the moment. It just became bad afterwards. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
But like I say, when I've listened to them too, can't help but compare them, and I feel like drinking is the darker side of it, and Take It is like more of a lighter, like you said, the more fun side of it. Because as well with like when you compare them two tracks, like sonically, like the beat on Drinking's a bit less like, whereas like Take It's more like upbeat and like a bit more like pacey or whatever, however you want to describe it. So the beats are quite contrasting as well, but like the message is the same. It's just like opposites in a sense, but you have to compare the two. So that's why I wanted to sort of do them two as like
no, it's good. I like that you made that link. It's gave me more to talk about, because I probably wouldn't have spoke about them in that way had you not have made that connection, but you bang on with what you've said.
Yeah, because like I say, I've listened to it in its full, like from track to track, and then like obviously a lot of the time I've had it on when I've been doing things and I've not fully took it in.
Yeah.
But like last night I did spend some time like listening to the full project, like start to finish, and when I was actively making notes and taking it in and listening to what you were saying rather than just having it on. Yeah. Like I made them connections between them two tracks. Yeah. So I just wondered, like, and obviously it is like they are quite similar, and like you say, it's like contrasting opposites in it, so to speak. So moving on from Drinking and Take It, the next one is Money Minded. Yeah. And I said a big slap, bro. A big slap. Like everyone that I've spoke to has said like, or the ones that I've seen being people sharing on their Insta stories, and that's mainly been this track. It's like been the most popular. Is that the vibe you're getting? Is this the most popular track on the album?
It's not the most popular track on the album, no. But like what you said, I've had quite a lot of comments about that track as well. And yeah, I mean it's in my opinion, it's the biggest slapper on the album. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Because it's that and Take It really that are the two bit. Obviously, What's Up's got a bit of that in there as well, but I think Money Minded for me, that come about like, as I say, I was intending to write an EP, and then I'd basically wrote this EP, or I'd wrote these tracks or whatever. And by this point, I'd probably wrote about 6 tracks or something. So we were getting to higher like an EP. Really, you don't want to be going over 6 usually. Do you know what I mean? So it was kind of there anyway. Listening to it with my mate who does my videos, James.
James Colleen.
Yeah.
I remember his
James
name.
Colleen, yeah, man. And obviously he's my boy in it, so he knows my story better than anyone. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, yo, you've missed bits out here. You know, what about like making money and spending money the way you? Because I used to spend money gambling and buying clothes and going out and all that. You know, like obviously as you can imagine, when you're going out as much as I was going out, you're blowing through a bit of dough. Do you know what I mean?
You must be.
And he was like, that's a part of your journey that you've not touched on yet. That needs touching on. And then basically, around the time he said this to me, JSD said to me, bro, this project is amazing, yeah, but it's so serious. Like, because I'm talking about serious stuff, do you know what I mean? He's like, but it's so serious. He went, we need a couple of slappers on there. We need a couple of bangers on there just to switch it up sonically as well. So I went to the studio around that time, let's say that week. I was having these conversations and I was like, right, let's just make a banger. Yeah. Let's make a banger. I was like, Jim's give me some stuff to think about, what I can write about. You crack on with a beat. So literally, Money Minded was made in that session, in it. So he was making a beat, I was writing, got in the booth, done it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I said, what happened with Be Yourself that time, it just all came together. Just
connected.
And as he was making the beat, the boom, 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 I was just like, Money Minded, dun, dun. And then and then obviously like flow wise in that, I try and just pick pockets. That's something like I don't think I set out to do it initially, but something that definitely happened with the album is I tried to find basically all the tunes you would sort of want on an album. You know what I mean? Like, because you don't just want a track, you don't just want loads of bangers. You want a few serious ones in there as well, but you don't just want all serious. And Kaya said to me, I'm really impressed with the different like pockets you found with the sounds, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But then the bars for that, man, obviously it was sort of like, because the beat's so sort of stop-starty and choppy, how many times can I just switch this flow up, do you know what I mean? So every few bars I'm switching the flow up again to something else and that. So that was a really fun track to make, man. Yeah. Someone asked me today what was the most enjoyable track to make, and I can't honestly give an answer, because I enjoyed making them all for all different reasons, but that was definitely a fun time in the studio making that one.
Money Minded, that's sick, man. Yeah. So it sounds like obviously you remembered like the track, like you're rapping about like remembering when you couldn't and now you can.
Yeah. So I got to a stage in life where I didn't have that much, and then I got a few things, you know what I mean? But I spent as much as I got, let me tell you that, do you know what I mean? But that was part of it, and that's what my mate said to me, was like, you know, making and spending money was a big part of your journey. You know, a good 10 years of it, do you know what I mean? 10ish years, maybe a bit less. So yeah, that's where that one came from anyway.
Yeah, man. And then obviously with this one as well, there's a voice note on the end of this one, and this is the one that I was alluding to that gives me like vibes of like anxiety, not the other one. I got mixed up before when I said anxiety. I didn't mean that. It's this one on Money Minded is the voice note at the end.
Yeah.
And you say, "Oh, I'm sorry I couldn't make it out for your birthday. Like I couldn't get out the gaff. Like I've had anxiety before. Like I struggle with it every now and again. Yeah. Obviously, like you, I feel like I've not had it as bad as other people, so I don't really like feel like I have. If you know what I mean. Like I get what you're saying with that, but like that voice note is like alluding to that, like you have struggled with that, and is that a thing that you have struggled with? Or
so as I was saying, you know, when like living the life that I lived, you know, just anxiety and paranoia was a big one for me. I became a very, very paranoid man, you know, and that just all contributed to just not wanting to go places, not wanting to meet people, you know. As I even saying it, I say oh no, what are we doing, trapped here, or are we doing the voice note?
The voice note.
The voice note, yeah. So the voice note was obviously to sort of introduce the next track, which is Trapped, in a way of saying like, yeah, we're doing it, you know, in Take It and Money Minded, we're out, we're having it. It's all, you know, but then there's a downside to it, you know, and that's what this is, where, you know, I don't want to go out anymore. And as I say, I needed to drink to go out. Do you know what I'm saying? I needed to drink to be able to go out and do that stuff. But I didn't always want to be. I think because when I drank, it got mad. Do you know what I mean? And even just things like birthday meals. I'm not talking like going out on nights out. I'm talking a meal in the day or something. Like it was a big effort to get out of the house and do it. You know. Yeah. And a lot of the time I didn't, and I'd cancel on people. Used to, you know, ignore my phone and stuff. And I'm not even that guy. I don't want to be the person ignoring the phone. Do you know what I mean? But that's where it got to. And I can still be like that now sometimes. It's less these days, but it can still come up sometimes, you know, and I just get, you know, my stomach's in knots and I start feeling ill. Do you know what I mean? But I know what it is today. I know it's just anxiety. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know anything about anxiety back then. I'd never used the word before in my life. Yeah. But I know what it is today, and I know to say to myself, go, you'll be fine in 20 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And I usually am.
Yeah. Once you're there.
Once I'm there, and I've just realised everything's okay. Do you know what I mean?
It's all in your head.
Yeah. Basically,
yeah. So obviously the reason I brought that up and you just touched on it is because it then goes into Trapped.
Yeah.
Which is obviously a song sort of like on about avoiding events and things like that. Like trapped in my own brain is about like
trapped in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, like layered up, guard up.
Yeah.
Like. Yeah, things like that. Like obviously you being very, very sorry, my notes are going off screen. Right. So obviously you're opening up about what you alluded to in the voice note. Like in the voice note, you don't say, "Oh, I struggled with this" or whatever, but like I say, it alludes to certain underlying issues or whatever they may be, and then this track then sort of like cracks it open, so to speak, and you put it all out there.
Definitely, and the track. I mean, I personally feel Trapped. You know, if I had to pick like a lead single off the album, it would be that, just because of how it sounds sonically and what it's about and how it was written. You know, the fact you've got the stuff at the end, that's just different. Do you know what I mean?
Is that like the ad libs and that a little?
That
you
even
give it on this track.
Just how be nice to yourself. Try to, you know what I mean? Just like I just think that I think that track is a really professionally written track. I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the way we made that track. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, just describing what it's like to be trapped in here. You know, which a lot of people are trapped in here. A lot of people know what that's like.
Yeah.
And I was just giving my take on it. You know, giving my experience of it. I managed to do it by, you know, writing a bit of a melodic hook and all that, which is great. You know, the fact that I could do it and hopefully make it sound a bit catchy and that as well, you know. And that's a track that a lot of people have mentioned to me. Gilly even said to me, Gilly said, Trapped is the track I didn't know I needed. Like that doesn't, bro, there's no bigger compliment than someone saying those words, you know what I mean? Like the fact that I've made a song which someone who I know so well can say that to me. Do you know what I mean? That's huge. But yeah, definitely that track is just sort of coming from the place of, you know, with living this mad lifestyle that I was living comes all these things as well, you know, and whether you want to put a label and a name on them or not, you feel them, whether you know what they're called and whether they are what this label suggests it is, like anxiety or whatever. I just know that I feel this stuff, and when I feel it, I can't move. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
hear that. And obviously, like you said, it's like melodies and things like that. There's like a little ad lib that I clocked of you going, ooh, something like you're giving it a little ooh, like something
at the ending.
Yeah. I think it's towards the end of the track.
Give a little ooh in there.
Yeah, I clocked that. I thought it took me. I was like, whoa, was that
him? Yeah. So do you know what? I listened to that. We listened to that tune with actually a singer in the studio who ended up featuring on one of the other songs. So, adding vocals to one of the other songs, should I say? Which obviously we'll get to. And he was like to me, I didn't know you could sing, and I was like, I can't sing. Do you know, that's not singing. Do you know what I mean? And he was like, bro, that's singing. Like, I'm a singer, that's singing. Do you know what I mean? So the fact another musician like rated it, that's big, because I don't think I can sing, but I know I can hold a few notes, and I'm trying. You know, I watched the Sleeps episode, you know, and I like how Sleeps approaches his thing, you know, like, don't put me in a box. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We can do a few different things here.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He can do a few more, you know what I'm saying? But
there's nothing he can't do.
He's a very talented guy. But what I'm obviously trying to do is, I'm trying to be an artist. You know, the guys I listen to, your Daves, your Wretch, your Kano, your Gets, you know, they all do a bit of that.
Yeah.
In their own way, and that's what I'm just trying to do, my little bit in my own way, you know. Make good music.
Yeah, man, love that. So obviously the next track is Worth featuring Prima.
Yeah.
Who is obviously part of Medication as well.
Yeah.
So shout out Prima as well.
Yeah.
And did she obviously is like backing vocals.
It's
like singing. It's
vocals, but she's all over the tune.
Did she play the piano? In the tune.
She may have done. She Prima played keys on a good few of them piano melodies on that project. So Worth, I think she was in the studio and made Worth, so there's a good chance she played them keys. Yeah.
No, because obviously I clocked it was her voice doing the backing vocals, and obviously it says featuring Prima.
Yeah.
So I clocked it was her, but then I heard the piano and I thought, I wonder if she done that.
Yeah. Bit. As I say, she contributed to a few of them. She's an insanely talented pianist, you know.
Yeah.
So she contributed to a few of them, sort of playing in the melodies, and then Jay obviously flipped them and made them what they are, in the way he does. But I think the reason we put her down as a feature on the tune, even though she doesn't have a verse or the hook, is just because she's all over it. She makes the tune. Do you know what I mean? Without her vocals on that tune, the tune isn't what it is. Yeah. You know, it just brings it into a new life. So, you know, she deserved the feature credit on there for that reason. And obviously she's part of Medication anyway. So it's good to obviously put that out there as well. Worth obviously is about when the lifestyle I lived, I ended up in certain establishments, you know, and certain, you know, I just tried to basically document. Again, I didn't sit down with the intention of writing this tune. It just came, do you know what I mean? But as it came, you know, it was like, you know, I'm just trying to shed a bit of light on the places that I'd spent some time and that, and the professions of the people who work there. I'm saying, you know, like, really, you know, because rappers obviously glamorise all that. A lot of rappers glamorise all that life and that. And I'm saying, like, it's all right, and I get it, and I see why, and I respect it, but there's another way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Know your worth. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah,
you're spitting facts though.
I believe I came at it from the most respectful angle. It's not a disrespectful track. I believe I came at it from the most respectful angle possible. And Prima backed that up. So there we go. Do you know what I mean? She said that too, and she's someone who's big on obviously sort of pushing, you know, women and females being respected and being spoke of in a respectful way, you know. So for her to obviously say, like, I think you did justice on that track, you know, that's
I didn't when I listened to it, I took it and I didn't think it was like, obviously I'm not in that profession myself, but to take offence, but I didn't like think, he's had a bit of a stab at someone.
It's not meant to be a disrespectful track at all. It's just meant to be how I just meant to be saying, basically, know your worth. Everyone needs to know their worth.
It's a good message.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone needs to know their worth.
Yeah, I've got it down in there. Like, it's a good message within that. Like, you're spitting facts, and it's a good message that you're coming across with. Like, because a lot of people, I feel like, get blinded by the light in that side of things, and that's why they do the things they do.
Yeah.
Because they get blinded by this and that where you're like, wait a minute.
Definitely.
Reverse a minute and
definitely.
Know your worth.
And it all adds to the lostness that we see in a lot of people in this day and age, you know.
Yeah.
I had that lostness, but for a different reason, you know, doing different things, you know, but it all adds to that lostness. Just people a lot of people, like, because you can live up to the gas. It's easy to live up to the gas and just think, but, you know, sack what anyone else cares. Do you know what I mean? Like, it don't matter what they care. I'm just going to do what I want to do. And that's all right thinking like that. But actually, there's a better way where you'll actually like who you are a little bit more if you find that better way. Do you know what I mean? I had to go through all that myself. So I'm not speaking on it from somebody who doesn't know as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Nah, it's a big tune, that one. And then I've just got a final note saying the production, backing vocals and all that is amazing on this one. Like, I proper thought that was a big tune, that one. Like, when I took it in, I thought this could, like, hold weight in charts and things like that. Like, I think it's the production and like the way it's been put together and all that. I just think it's mint.
No, good, thank you, man.
So yeah,
Jay will be happy with that too.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you both should be happy with, like, what you are doing, you know, what you have done.
We are, man. We are
achieved, like, it's massive. So obviously off the back of Worth, the next track is Mum.
Yeah.
So probably, like I said earlier, one of my favourite tracks.
Yeah.
This is probably like up there with, like, I'm undecided on what, like, Rob, and this is probably my two favourite tracks.
Okay. Yeah.
Personally, for me personally, I just, like, I fucking love my mum too, bro. Do you know what I mean? So when I listen to this track, it strikes. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can feel it. So obviously it's a big tune, bit of a different vibe / like deeper one. What we alluded to earlier. Like, there's a couple deep ones on here, but like before that, it's never, like you said, you've touched on things, but you've never spoken about it like this. Like, and I feel like this sits there with waiting in terms of, like, the emotion and things like that. So
100%.
One question I've got is, what does your mum think of it? Has your mum heard it?
I played it for my mum on Mother's Day.
Did you?
Sunday just gone. Yeah, I played it for... Loads of people kept saying... Well, not loads of people, but the people who've heard it kept saying to me, have you played it your mum yet? And I didn't want to play it for her until I knew it was done. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, it's done now. Like, there's no more getting done. It's done in it. You know what I mean? It's out. And then I was thinking, I'd love her to just watch it as a visual as well. I'd love to make a video to it, and that's when she first sees it. But then it was Mother's Day. I was downstairs. It was just me and her, and I was like, you know what? Like, it's out there now. People are hearing it. Do you know what I mean? It's time for her to hear it. Do you know what I mean? And played it for her, man, and it was a moment, man. It was a proper moment. You know, obviously my mum is a gem. Do you know what I mean? Been through a lot, as probably a lot of mums have. You know, and mum was just my way of saying to her, like, thank you. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm getting choked up saying it now, man. I don't even know how I'm gonna perform it, bro. I don't know how I'm gonna get through it performing it. We'll see. But like, yeah, man. Like, it was just my way of saying thank you and saying, like, I know all this has happened, and I know I've done all this as well. God, I know it couldn't have been easy being my mum for a period in my life, you know. But you know, she was always there and always doing what she needed to do, and obviously I go in deep on that, saying how my attitude changed, you know, because I grew up, and I grew up. My mum raised me well, do you know what I mean? But then I just developed this attitude of, I deserve more here. Why haven't I got more? Why is the world against me? Do you know what I mean? And it made me go out and get stuff for myself. But it made me a very bitter human as well. Do you know what I mean? And got involved in all the wrong stuff for that. You know, for those reasons of how I felt. It was nothing to do with anyone else. You know, saying, you know, they had TNs and I didn't. I used to look at the kids in school with TNs and I'd be like, why ain't I got TNs? My mum works, do you know what I mean? My mum works hard, do you know what I'm saying? Why ain't I got TNs? Not understanding. She's got a mortgage to pay with 2 kids and she's on her own. You know?
I was going to say, well, you allude to that. Like, it's like, some of it is like pulling back from that time. And then some of the emotion is like you now as a grown man knowing that, like, bills and all that things exist. Because when you're a kid, you don't know that exists.
You don't know that. You don't see kids with better trainers than you.
And you think like you say, if your mum's working, you will be confused. But then obviously now looking back as an adult and a grown man yourself, who obviously pays bills and all that sort of stuff now yourself, you can understand. Right, I didn't have the latest TNs, but she had a mortgage. You said about a car as well. Did you say something about the car as well?
Well, I say obviously, like I say that I look at the kids with the TNs, but then you look at the cars they had on their drive, and they had two. Do you know what I mean? Because mum and dad both had a car, and they both worked. That's not what it was at my house. Do you know what I mean?
Single parent household.
So and then obviously, I mean, Mum is by far the most powerful track on the album. I played that for my boy Carlos. We go walking up mountains a lot, and we was on the way back, and I was playing him the album. We got to Mum, we played it, and obviously as the second verse comes in and the bass comes in and then all them sound effects come in, like I remember when Jay did that, because they weren't in there initially, and we were like, this, the way I'm spitting, the production needs more here. Do you know what I mean? It needs to be taken to that next level, and Jay smashed it. Did a madness with that second verse. And I remember my mate just being like, after it, and he went, well, that's the bar, innit? That's obviously the bar for the rest of the tracks. And I went, in one way, yeah, but in another way, you can't make 13 of them. Yeah. You can't. You make one of them on a project. You might make one of them in your career. Do you know what I'm saying? You make one of them. You can't make 13 of them. And no one wants to listen to 13 of them. No. Because one's enough.
Yeah. I think one as well stands alone and like does more being on its own.
Exactly.
Because if there was 12 others,
takes away the powerfulness of that one.
Yeah. 100%.
But it should be the most powerful track on there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's about my mum.
And then one last note I've got on there is the only problem with that track, bro, is potato cakes are dead. I don't like potato cakes. No, bro. I was like, I was feeling it, and I thought, do you know what? I'm gonna put this on there because I don't like potato cakes.
You know what? I don't have them too much anymore. But 3 potato cakes with bare butter.
Nah, it's not me. I'm
not for you, no.
Crumpet geezer, me.
Yeah, crumpets. Crumpets are good too. You know what I mean? But it's just what she fed us, isn't it?
Yeah, standard.
Stop dissing my mum,
man. No, I'm not. Shout out Mumsy, man. I'm just saying, potato. If I come round for tea, no potato cakes, please. So, moving on from Mum is thinking.
Yeah.
And with this one, bro, I can't stop whistling the thing.
Yeah.
It's got the whistle in it.
Yeah.
Like, it's sick. And the bars and flow on this one are sick as well. On all of them they are, to be honest with you.
No, the bars in Thinking, though, I went in with the wordplay and that on Thinking. Like, again, I wrote that track as I'll tell you the truth, bro. I listened to Avellino's Daily Duppy.
Yeah.
And the way he attacked it, and I was like, this is ill. I want to do something like this. Yeah. So I just started writing over his Daily Duppy to the beat. Do you know what I mean? And then bars come.
Yeah.
And then obviously as I'm writing about my own stuff, you know, it's like, right, this is just a track where I'm just really reflecting about everything I've sort of gone through already on the album. Yeah. I'm coming at it from that angle. So yeah, that's why it became, you know, one for the album. Jay made the beat, did the whistle thing. You know, my girlfriend at the time when she heard it was like, this is the most sort of commercial tune because of that beat. I didn't think it was. She said it is. I've had so many comments about that tune, bro. So many people messaging me saying Thinking is one of or their favourite. And yeah, the whistle and that. And then actually when I listened to it, I'd think, yo, I went in with the wordplay on here. There's so much wordplay, man. You know, that is sinking. I was in that mad flow, went into the sinking, then I jumped ship and went at it through the sinking. Like, you know what I mean? If you are barsman, you'll appreciate that tune. Yeah,
proper bars. That was my note on there, bars and flow.
Yeah,
I made very little notes on that track, but the main note was the bars. I just nuts, bro.
But obviously Avellino inspired that level of writing, and he can write. That's why I say all this wordplay with the rhymes, you'll think I came from Tottenham. Because you've got Avellino, Chip, Wretch, Tottenham's a place.
Well, when you said that straight away, I thought Chip and Wretch. I forgot about Avellino, to be honest.
But Tottenham's a place for your barsman rappers in it, but then obviously South Manneh till I die, M3 other side of TGIs. You know what I mean? Repping for where I'm from.
Other side of TGIs. Yeah, man. I love that bar. That's sick. So obviously Thinking, and then the one after that is Morning Meds.
Yeah.
Now, when I first seen this, I thought Morning Meds, like, looking at the track list of Morning Meds, what's this? put it on. And it's like you on about like your morning routine, like I think you allude to praying and meditating and working out. Is that your routine? And then because you touch on like other people might wake and bake or
do whatever they want to do.
Do whatever they want to do, but this is my routine, and you give yours. And it again, like you're not just like on a lot of these tracks. Like obviously, I'm thinking you've got bars and like you're saying stuff, but like a lot of them. You've got bars and the flow and it all matches in, but you're actually delivering a story, like
capturing a moment,
or taking the listener back to a time, through your bars, and I think a lot of people can't do that. So if we're being honest, like a lot of people have just got bars for them. Now I'm buying this, I'm splashing that, I'm dipping that, whatever. Whereas you're like actually taking us back to somewhere and telling the story with your lyrics, which is a sick thing, man. So
it's an album. It's what an album should be.
That's what I'm saying. It's proper. So with morning meds, is that your actual routine? Like, do you pray?
Very much so. Morning meds is. I've had a morning since I stopped drinking. I've had a morning routine. I found it helped me. It helped me with the stuff we were talking about in Trapped. You know, just getting rid of that negative head in the morning, and that, you know, I found that if I start my day in the best possible way, my day's good. Do you know what I mean? If I start the day rushed, wake up late, rushing, getting out of the house, you know what I mean? It's not good. And I'm not good, and I don't act well with people. So I got into doing certain things in the morning, and it's grown over time. And I think over the first lockdown, I was I started making my coffee in the morning, and I just started putting it on my story, and loads of people started loving it and interacting with it, like morning coffee with RJ or something like that. People were saying to me, and I think I started using the term morning meds then, and then I wrote for a while. I wrote a blog, so I like writing in it, obviously. And rapping and lyricism is one way of me writing, but I actually enjoy writing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you enjoy your artworks and that. Like, I enjoy sitting down and doing it. And I had a bit of free time,
like a blog type thing.
A bit of free time towards the end of the year before Christmas and that. And I just started writing articles and that. And I set up a blog called RJ Homegrown Blog. And one of the articles on it was morning meds. And that might be that there was that and Be Yourself, which was about my journey back to music, and they're the two articles that got the most sort of hits and views. And in that morning meds, I just describe how important a morning routine is for me and some of the things I do. And I'm saying, look, and even in that track, I'm saying, I ain't trying to tell you what to do with your morning. Find your morning meds. These are my morning meds. You know what I mean? And I use the term meds because obviously a lot of people do take medication. I don't need to take no medication. This is my medication. Do you know what I mean? Morning meds. So prayer, meditation. My form of meditation is very different to other people's. The beautiful thing about meditation is if you listen to people who try and tell you how to meditate, then they're not that spiritual. They're not as spiritual as they probably like to claim they are. You can meditate in any way. Meditating's being quiet and listening for what's meant to come to you. Do you know what I mean? So mine's very quick in the morning. I just sit down. Meditating for me is centering my mind, so I'm in a clear state to pray, and then I've got a clear channel to God. Do you know what I mean? Obviously,
so you meditate first, then pray.
Meditate first, then pray. Obviously, I love a strong coffee in the morning, so that's in there. That's part of my routine. I enjoy making it, bro. I enjoy smelling the coffee as I open the jar. Keep it in a jar where it's airtight. Do you know what I mean? Open it, smell it, make it. I make it in an AeroPress. I've not got a big fancy machine. If I could afford one, I'd probably have one, but I can't. So I've got an AeroPress, what makes a great coffee, you know. Sit down with that, stretching, you know. I started stretching a few years ago when I realised how even though I'd trained a lot, how immobile I was. I couldn't get in certain positions and stuff that just wasn't healthy, really. Do you know what I mean? For a lad in my late 20s or whatever. And now, I mean, it's even since I made this track and wrote that blog, it's even changed. I started experimenting with the Wim Hof method for a bit, which is a breathing technique and exposing yourself to cold water. I've always done the cold shower thing, but I went a bit mad with it, bro. You know, when it snowed, I was outside of my garden stood barefoot in snow for 8 minutes and that, man. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you know what? Anything,
your neighbours thinking,
bro. Anything, you're thinking, what is he doing? Do you know what, though, bro? Yeah, anything I do, I go mad with it, I go too far with it, yeah.
Right, okay.
But I'll always keep something. I always keep a little part. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was doing that Wim Hof breathing stuff. I've not done it for a few weeks now. When I was doing it, you do it, yeah. You do 3 rounds of it, and then you do press ups. I've always done a few press ups in the morning because it just gets the blood flowing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You do press ups without taking a breath, yeah. Bro, I got 70 after a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. I got 78 press ups in one breath. Breathe out, I got about 50 before I had to breathe in. I'd take half a breath in, and I got another 28. 78 press ups in one breath, bro. Like, these things work. And
that's mad, that.
Yeah, but that's not me. That's the method. Do you know what I mean? It works. But yeah, a morning routine is massive for me. And this is another, I've had a lot of comments about this of people who also, you know, my boy who lives down south, he was like, yeah, I'm yoga at 6:30, you know, coffee at 7 type of guy. I had another guy today, Harry, from Barnby. You know, he makes vegan Vietnamese food. It's banging, bro. Have you seen them big baguettes that I post on my story?
Oh yeah,
them big baguettes with all the salad in and that.
Yeah, we need to go, bro.
Yeah, bro, banging. I'm not a vegan in it, but like this food, bro, is next level. Can be enjoyed by anyone, you know. He messaged me literally this morning saying that's his favourite tune because he's a routine guy.
Yeah.
And all I will say, if for anyone who doesn't have a routine to do in the morning, try and find one that works for you because it will transform your life. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's transformed my life, honestly. Yeah, and now, there's certain days when I don't do it. Do you know what I mean? You know, if I'm with my girlfriend, maybe I'm not as sort of intense with it as I am when I'm on my own. And a few, you know, it's okay to miss a day here and there, but more often than not, 5 out of 7 days a week, I'm doing the exact same thing in the morning, and it pays dividends. Yeah, you know, and that track was just my way of getting it out. But a little fact about that track, it was one of the last one. It was the last track we recorded, and I recorded it, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way I spat on it, and I was almost going to scrap it. I was like, you know what? How I wrote it and how I wanted it to sound, I'm just not able to get it to sound that way, and that's fine. We just won't do it. And then again, I was listening to the full thing with my mate in the car, with James in the car. We was working out the track list actually, and then the beat come on because it was in the track list. The beat come on, and he was like, "What have you done over this?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm not playing you the track. I'm not going to use it." And he went, "Spit it for me then," and I spat it for him, and he went. And then I played him the track, and he went, "How you've just spat that to me is not how you recorded it. Go back in the booth, go back to the studio, and record it like you've just spat it in the car."
James Kaleem.
Yeah, and I did, and there you go. And
yeah,
man. Yeah,
that's
good.
Proper. That's proper. And then 2 more left. The last 2 tracks. Family First. Yeah. So again, this one is like very open. You're on about like spending time with your nana and things, like family time. I get the vibes. Yeah. Like family time and stuff like that, and like you say something like you allude to that you've come a long way, but you've still got a long way to go to where you want to be.
Yeah, I think that's in the next one.
Oh, is that in the next?
That'll be in Flawed, that maybe.
Oh yeah, shit, I've read the wrong thing. Yeah. So, sorry. Yeah, this. Sorry, I need to make the font bigger. It's on alright, bro. Don't worry. Yeah. So, family time, spending time with Nana, and then like you talk about supporting your mum and dad. Yeah. Which is what we spoke about before on Waiting, where you said certain things about your dad in the past or whatever, like how he didn't. Whatever, but the relationships, obviously, like we know.
Yeah, me and my dad have a good relationship today. Yeah. We've both worked on that. Do you know what I mean? Things need working on in life, don't they? That's why I say true healing takes time. Yeah. You know, things might have to get a bit worse sometimes, because to heal, especially with other people, both parties have to be at the right place to heal together. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes one person has to put a bit more effort in than the other. My dad put quite a lot of effort in with me in my mad years, and I wasn't ready for that effort. Do you know what I mean? And then when I sorted myself out, I was ready to make that effort back, you know. Yeah. But yeah, Family First is just a tune, you know, just again, I didn't plan to write it, but it just came and it was right, and it fits the album, and it goes perfectly there at the end of the album, you know, when I'm saying, yeah, this is just what I'm trying to do, you know. That time with my nana, You see the post I put up on Mother's Day for Mum, that picture of me on the park as a kid. Yeah. A couple of years ago, I spent a whole half a day with my nana. Yeah, just going through her old albums, albums. Yeah, bro, I found out so much about my nana that I never knew. Yeah. like how she lived in her early life, and you know how. But I'm not gonna say it on here because my mum might not want me to say it. But when my mum was born, they lived somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I didn't even
so
know.
That's stuff you didn't know.
I didn't know they lived there. Do you know? I didn't know they lived on this place, and you know it's mad. And I found out so much that afternoon. Anyone, if you've got old relatives and you've not done this, because this is something I'd not done.
Yeah.
So some people might do this a lot. Do you know, this is something I'd not done. If you've got, if your grandparents are still alive or whatever, go spend time with them, man, and find out about them and their life. Because I tell you something, you'll learn a few things. You know what I mean? They've lived. And we just went through all these old photo albums, and I seen that photo, and I took a picture of it because honestly, in that photo, when I looked at that photo, it was like. That's where it hit me. Like, my mum did everything for us.
Who's in that picture? You, your mum, and
my little sister.
Yeah, I was going to say.
She's only a baby. And, we're young. I'm probably 4 in that picture.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. Yeah, 4. And that's when it just hit me. Like, my mum did everything for us. Do you know what I mean? Like, not saying I'd not thought it before, but it never hit me like it slapped me in the face just looking at that picture, bro. So family first is about that stuff. I'm trying to spend. My nana's in her 90s. She's not going to be here forever.
Yeah.
Just spend time with her as much as I can. Do you know what I mean? Be there for my dad. Be there for my mum. Be there for my sister and her husband. And then in the second verse, I say like, just want to pay Jimbo what he's worth. I want to pay my boy everything he deserves. You know what I mean? I've not got the funds to do. I'd pay him obviously, but I've not got the funds to pay him what he's worth right now. But I will get there. What I get landing, give Box my mate who I was telling you about in the car, Carlos, nicknames Bok, not that he needs me to buy him land to build a house on, but I know my man wants to live out in the country, do you know what I mean, surrounded by mountains and that. If I got in a position where I could do that, I'd love to do that for my people, do you know what I mean? And put them on in that way and give them just a little something that they want in life, so that's what that track's about really, just me sort of honouring the fact that there's a lot of people in my life and I'd love to do the things I can for them if I was in the position to do that. But until then, I suppose the one thing I can give them is my time.
I also feel like with you saying how you want to like support your mum and dad as well, I think that comes like full circle with the album, with like obviously there's the mum track and then there's Waiting where you mention your dad, because someone who don't know you might listen to Waiting and think, oh, maybe he don't speak to his dad.
Maybe it sounds like I hate him in that
it
track.
Sounds like you might or you just the relationship was never there, or you could pick any sort of conclusion from that track in terms of like you're not sure, like you don't have a relationship with your dad, but then obviously at the back end of the album this track comes on and you mention him in a good light, so people will be like, oh right, so they'll click that obviously you have made up with your dad sort of thing, and it comes full circle. So that's big as well. One
thing you shouldn't carry in life, and I'm not trying to be like dead philosophical, but if you carry anger and hate towards people and resentment towards people, it just affects you. Do you know what I mean? And sometimes you can't. It's not easy to get over that stuff, and it can take years. But the only person who can change it is you, and you have to put action in with it. Do you know what I mean? That's something I've learned. Again, I'm not speaking like I'm some guru. I've learned all this. I've learned all this through pain. Do you know what I'm saying? But if there's any people that you fell out with or whatever in the course of your life, man, like try and take. If you're still thinking about him, you need to take steps to heal that. Do you know what I mean?
100%. I agree with that. So then on the last track, bro, is Flawed, which I was reading the wrong notes a minute ago. So this one's like reflecting on how far you've come. It feels like my vibe off it, is like you sort of reflecting on how far you've come, but still got a long way to go to where you want to be. And the hook is fucking nuts.
Hook's nuts, innit?
Yeah.
That's shout out Romario. So Romario is the guy I was mentioning before. He was at the studio at that time. He's been working with Jay. We were listening to this tune. We were like, you know what? We need a singer to sort of do the backing vocals on this hook. And me and Jay were both in agreement that it needed to be a male singer. It just felt right.
So you can't just draw in Prima?
No, not for that one.
Fair enough.
We knew it needed to be a male voice, and he was like, I've been working with a guy who's got an unreal voice. And then he came. We just basically said, get in and do what you do. Do you know what I mean? We didn't give him no direction. He came up with them, the vocals that he came up with, and he killed it, man. Perfect finish to the album. But Flawed is just saying, like I have come a long way, bro. Obviously, in the last podcast we did, you can sort of see that as well, you know, in some of the stuff we covered. I've come a hell of a long way, but there's still more to go, you know. I'm not a perfect human. I'm not the finished episode either, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a long way to go. And also, I suppose it's saying, like, you know, the reason I've come a long way is because I've been able, and I've been given the opportunity, and the right people have been put in my place to help me to look at myself. Now, if I stop looking at myself, you know what I mean, if I stop being that sort of disciplined with myself, then I might go back to that stuff. I might do. I don't want to, so I just keep looking at myself, and there's always something that needs work. So that's why that chat's a bit more open, you know, saying, you know, I need to make a bit more effort with my girlfriend's friends and that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I've spoke to people in a bad way, and I'm sorry if I have. I didn't mean it in that moment. Do you know what I mean? I didn't mean to speak to you like I was above you and down to you. And yeah, basically that. Yeah, just a very open way of ending the album. You know, I think I've had a few other artists message me about that track, saying that it's inspired them to be more honest in their music, which again is another huge compliment, you know, for another artist to say that to me. You know, and yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about the stuff I'm saying. That's why I'm stopping. I'm thinking about the stuff I've said in the track. You know, I've been very open in that track. Very open about my position right here, right now. You know, my financial position. You know, I'm not trying to do all the smoke and mirrors thing where I act like I'm smashing it in life, bro. I'm living a normal life, and it's hard. Do you know what I mean? It's hard some days. I think
you're saying family first, like, or one of them, you say like, I'm just keeping afloat or something like that. Or I've been just
family first. I say I'd love to treat. I name my godsons. And I say I'd love, which is one of my closest friends' two sons, and I'd love to treat him. But the last few years, I've literally just been keeping afloat.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? Just real in it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be fake in my music. I know there's a lot of talk about artists being real, you know, and it's usually comes from a lot of people, but there's often a lot of people talking all the madness that often say that. Do you know what I mean? And maybe they are doing all that, and maybe they're not. I don't know. I don't particularly care. But I'm being real in mine. I'm just giving my truth.
Being true to yourself.
That's it, man.
True to yourself and your fans. So yeah, that's pretty much the album. Like, well, not pretty much. That is the album. Also, there's Northern Soul, which is recently out. Recently released. That came out just before the album, and when you was on the last podcast, you sort of said that's like it's not the intro to the album, but it's an intro to the intro type thing. So obviously that one's out there as well. Now, what was the idea? Like, what I'm only bringing this up because it sort of ties into the album. So where did you get the idea from, and what made you wanted to do a single? That's because a lot of people traditionally would drop a single off the album, and then that would be your lead single or whatever, as I think you alluded to before, that like Trapped would be your lead single
if I was to choose one.
But you obviously went a different route and done a different single. Some people just do freestyles in the lead up or whatever. You chose to go that way. What was the thinking behind that?
I didn't want to release any tracks off the album as a single because I wanted the album to be listened to in full. I believe it was made to be listened. Well, not believe it was made to be listened to in full, but I believe it deserves to be listened to in full. I am gonna start releasing visuals for certain tracks to keep the album going, you know. But Northern Soul was Mac James, producer, sent me a few beats, and that one just hit me. I was just like, I like the vibe of this beat. And Sly the Kid had at the time recently, so we're talking like early lockdown times, he'd put up a freestyle of him talking about places in Manneh. And I just loved it. Do you know what I mean? I just loved it, man. Like, I just loved the whole sort of idea of it, and it got me thinking, because I'm like that. I've been about a lot of places with a lot of people and done a lot of things in these places over the course of my life, you know. So it just kind of got me in that zone to write like that myself. So that's why I have to say at the start of the track, big up Sly on this one. He inspired this one because I want to give man the flowers. You know, he inspired me to write that track. I'm not biting his idea. Do you know what I mean? I looked at his idea and I was like, yo, I need to do something like that. That's amazing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, the inspiration came from that, a little trip down memory lane, and just sort of go into a bit of background. And I suppose I touch on things in Northern Soul that I don't touch on in the album, but I'll just give you a bit of background of who I am, where I've come from. And it's an intro to what's to come, really. a lot of people love that tune, you know. Obviously, a lot of my people love that tune because they were there. So they're like, yo, like more of this. All my close people love the nostalgic stuff, you know. And I think other people do as well. I feel like a lot of the time I definitely get more reaction to the nostalgic stuff, but you can't just make nostalgic stuff all the time. Like, I'm an artist, I want to make a bit of everything, you know. But yeah, Northern Soul. I think the fact, obviously, Northern Soul was, you see the video for Northern Soul. That was how it was recorded. So me spitting into the mic, being filmed, it's being recorded on the mic
at the same time.
There and then. Yeah, it was a live studio freestyle. I didn't even record it in the booth. I just knew that for this track to hit the way it needs to hit, it needs to be delivered like this, raw,
certain straight, level of authenticity to it.
One take straight off there. And yeah, I mean, I did it in 2 takes. I didn't like the first one. There was one word and I didn't think I pronounced it well enough, so I said, let me do it again. You know, I'm real like that. Do you know what I mean? But it needed to be done in that way. You know, and a lot of people would be like, right, you could have just recorded it in the booth and then shot the video. Nah, it needed to be like that. Everything needed to be the same. Done at the same time. Yeah,
man. So yeah, we'll put the link for the album and the Northern Soul single down below.
Yeah, man.
But just dead quick before we go, you on the last podcast, you said when you was talking about your album, you said that there's 2 songs on this album that you feel could stand up in the charts with any other songs, or something along them lines. Basically alluding that 2 tracks absolutely banging. And I messaged you the other day and said I want to try and guess. So I'm gonna try and guess. The first one, I think, I've got, it's 2 songs in it. I've got 3 down. So
yeah, man,
you're gonna have to allow me in it. I've put Flawed, Mum, and Rob.
You think Rob?
I personally, but what I've done is I put Rob in there because I just fuck with that one hard. But after speaking to you of this thing, I maybe think it's Thinking is the other one. Because the way you spoke about it.
You got one right. I think Mum. Definitely. Mum. You know. That's just one that everyone just says wow to. You know? And I think musically and how it's delivered, I think it's a world class track. I want to put it out there. Do you know what I mean? I feel the other one's trapped because of the way it's written and constructed. You know, but I think Flawed. Now you've said it, possibly as well.
Flawed's up there, bro. Like,
I've had a few messages about Flawed today. It's at the end, innit? So obviously, I get this, you know, people are busy, so they might listen to the album, they might do 7 tracks on the way to work or whatever. So then once towards the end, unless you're coming back to them, which people are, because the album's had pretty much even streams really, which is great, you know, that's fantastic. But yeah, the ones at the bottom, Flawed and that, first few days they weren't getting as many because obviously people weren't getting there. But over the last say 4 days, Flawed's gone right up there. So people are obviously sort of putting that on repeat a bit. But yeah, when I said it on that day, I was thinking of Trapped or Mum. But so the fact that you think there's 3 more there potentially, that just means that we've done our job well, doesn't it?
You smashed it. Like I say, Flawed and Mum were the ones that I put down. But then I just thought, I fuck with that Rob tune me, so I'm just gonna say that as well. Just because I don't see it stuck with me, so I thought maybe it's sticking with me for a reason. So everyone, make sure you like and subscribe. Big shouts to RJ for coming back already. I've been pestering him. He was only here a couple of weeks ago and we got him back already. So,
thank you for having me as well. Yeah, 100%. The chance to do this is big. You know, not many people get the chance to break their album down in this way, and you've given me that opportunity. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries, bro. We're gonna be doing this more, like with guests that we've got on and people that we've not had on already. Like when an album comes out, anyone wants to do this sort of thing where we break it down. Let's get it, like we're active for it. So make sure you check out the links below for the album and Northern Soul, and follow RJ on the socials, like and subscribe, and that's it from us. We're out of here, man. Safe.